first episode of Mixtapes series Between the Lines. I have with me my co-host Vajia Heather, and we are gonna start talking about the things we mentioned in our introduction about pop culture, and just take a deep dive and basically have a little bit of fun because this is something that we have wanted to be doing for a very long time. Yes, it's just also too many podcasts, but why not? Hello, Vijaya.
Hello, Fatma. How have you been? How is the winter
I'm
of
good.
Lahore treating you? And how is everybody?
आई थिंक वी वर वेटिंग फॉर द विंटर्स. वो बहुत कंप्लेन कर रहे थे ना सारे कि सर्दी नहीं आ रही, लाहौर वाली पुरानी वाली सर्दी नहीं आ रही, तो सर्दी आ गई है. इट्स showed its true
Like
colors, so
it's
I think we
been
all are
a
enjoying.
difficult time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
uh
it's been a
because
very difficult.
it's not just the
Hmm.
weather, it's the smog. Further dense smog here, so लाहौर वैसे ही you can't breathe, so you can't really even enjoy the winters. I like winters. I prefer winters over summers, but you are not able to enjoy this one. So how have you been,
Although
and what are we talking about?
we are going to be talking about some very interesting things, hopefully. It's going to be about, of course, as we said, as we mentioned in the intro, it's going to be mainly about pop culture. अब देखते हैं कि whatever we have done, we have read, we have watched in these last few days. Of course, we had winter vacation as well, so I'm
Yeah.
sure कि काफी कुछ हम लोगों ने देखा होगा और सब कुछ.
Talking of
Yeah.
pop culture, I think let's just dig in because if our conversations, just a heads up to our audience, we at times derail. We are gonna try really, really hard not to do that, but that's sort of something that we are guilty of. Even when we just casually sit down, that happens a lot. Speaking of pop culture, and when we were brainstorming, so we were like, "कि अच्छा करते हैं कुछ casual and fun type," but एक तो हमें प्लानिंग में ज़रा टाइम लग गया, एंड दूसरा आई थिंक पॉप कल्चर में काफ़ी ट्विस्ट एंड टर्न्स आ गए हैं. इफ यू कैन टेक द हिंट ऑफ वेयर आई एम हेडिंग. पॉप कल्चर व्हेन वी स्टार्टेड आउट, casual है, entertainment है, but as we are learning, entertainment isn't really just innocent, or not that innocent. Storytelling is very powerful, we know that, but storytelling can have like vicious motives behind it. We are saying that. So what are your thoughts on that front?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, entertainment, how important entertainment is, and how significant entertainment and culture is in determining कि आपका जो है वो environment आपका किस तरीके से जो है वो आपको affect करता है और सारा कुछ. I mean, this is something that we have. I did not give a thought to it a lot, to be honest. I'll be very fair. I'll be very honest that I did not give a lot of thought to it, but because of what is happening these days, as we all know, I mean, and कि किस तरीके से जो है वो even entertainment जो है वो हम लोगों की आई मीन जिस तरीके से वो अफेक्ट करती है आपके माइंडसेट्स को बनाने में भी और माइंडसेट्स जिस तरीके से आपके एंटरटेनमेंट को अफेक्ट करते हैं लाइक both ways it goes both ways.
Yeah,
It is like so evident now, so out in the open. Like I never actually thought about it this much, but now it's
the
really
masks are off.
it's something
They are
that
like
is
literally off.
exactly. It's like they're off. I mean, and Balki, I have been thinking that so many people. I mean, so many people that I have actually loved and adored their work. Itni fall from grace हुई है, if you think about it. I mean, you don't really feel like watching their movies or watching their stuff after what they have been saying and what they have about, knowing about their opinions. Although we do have this debate that, you should keep art separate from the artist. But I don't know how to. I mean, I have been actually thinking about it and struggling with this a lot. कि but, अगर आप देखें कि वो सारा कुछ जो अब जो हो रहा है उसके अंदर I mean, you don't know how to you don't really understand how to, separate these two things from each other.
No, I know there's always been a lot of debate, and honestly, before this, I have also never had like a clear stance on it. But I think that वही अब सारा कुछ perspectives पे depend करना शुरू हो गया है, and I think separating the art from the artist, I think you need to see what that specific issue is. And I think genocide is a line that, when that is crossed, supporting genocide, then I think you can't separate the two. Matlab, that's just basics. And matlab, itna obviously itna in an ugly manner when you are outrightly supporting all of that, that you previously have been claiming, that you're the good people, you are the, you are the ones wanting peace and everything. So no, that, and it's not just even वही वाली बात है ना, it's complicated. It's not really. Like, I have unfollowed a few people who I have followed not just for the entertainment value, that the or liking their work on the entertainment front, but because they were very, उनके बाकी, they had like वो जो they broke that mold of वो जो एक stereotypical होता है ना कि if you're in the associated with the entertainment industry, you're sort of वो bimbos and वो वाला एक जो impression है. But no, their other additional, the causes that they support, their opinions that have previously shared, from environmental issues to anything else. And now on this front, they have gone completely silent, or the stance of, oh, but it's complicated. It's not that complicated.
Yeah, like there is this opinion that these are entertainment people, and these are pop culture icons, and they don't really have to speak up about everything. But I believe that with the kind of clout and with the kind of following that they have, their
Yeah.
opinions and their saying stuff about saying speaking up about stuff is basically it can actually make a difference, if not a lot of difference. Then the fact that they are saying things about, they are speaking up about things that are happening in the world, I think that matters. I think it is my opinion, and I might be wrong, but I
रीच
think
की
it
बात
is
है ना, रीच
something
की
that
बात है.
matters.
Why do brands, or why do causes take on ambassadors and ambassadors from these, this industry? There's a reason behind that, ना, because a lot more people listen to them rather than um, किसी अगर कोई scientific person, for, like from representing a non-profit, for example, goes out and says कि नहीं ये हो रहा है, people might not listen to that person, and there will be some smaller number. It's all about the reach and numbers की अगर हम बात करें ना. So their voice matters, and those who say कि वही वाला जो so I disagree on this front when they say they don't have to speak about everything. Yes, you don't. And it's not just about the people representing the entertainment industry. Anybody should not have opinions, because if you're not an expert, or you don't like a proper in-depth read up या आपका नहीं है, you cannot just start yapping up about something. But again, the same way, what I said about separating the art and the artist, in this case as well, there are limits, and there needs to be a context. This is something very, very, it's basically human rights violation. आपके international laws break हो रहे हैं, and you're still defending and funding and supporting. If Jerry Seinfeld going there, I mean, yes, you're taking off your masks. I don't see a very bright future for you, but you've showed your cards, na? So that's problematic. And also, I think in specific case of Hollywood, something that I have been hearing a lot on various podcasts coming out from the Western side as well, and unke bhi, because their people are like speaking up, and मतलब a fun, there's like again, hope के भी आपको चीजें नजर आती हैं. So they are also saying now that these people, मतलब वो अब everybody at their end is saying follow the money, trace the money. And so वो एक, it's another deep dive that we can always go back, research further, and come have like a conversation on. But it's pretty interesting. So when we said pop culture is not innocent, you can take examples of any uh, show that you have liked, as quote unquote innocent as a sitcom. For example, Friends. अब Friends में There was one episode, I don't even remember the season. Yeah, there's this scene where one of the Chandler, one of the characters, went out on a date with somebody, and when he was like praising or telling everybody else the qualities of that date, usme she's so amazing, she's so diverse, yada yada. She was in the Israeli army. She trekked from this place to that place. Clubbing in एक वो persona जो बना हुआ है, which we are seeing a
Hmm.
uh, जो
Hmm.
अब filter out हो रहा था start में जो talking points आ रहे थे. Then there's a Netflix show that I really really like. One Day at a Time. ये इनके किसी पुराने सिटकॉम का उन्होंने रिवैम्प किया हुआ था with रीटा मोरेनो और a good cast and a really good show, showing very progressive themes of minorities being the lead family. जो lead family है वो Spanish है, single mother doing in amazing things. And उसमें भी एक putting in and वो showing how the Spanish culture is कि they don't like they're very overprotective of their kids. तो उसमें एक scene है where one of the kids who is like turning like a preteen type चीज बच्चा है जिसको माँ पहली दफा जो है ना स्लीप ओवर के लिए जाने दे रही है. So that's the crux of the joke. But usme kya cha, where is she letting him go for a sleepover first time? Because the other mother gets his. Who is the other mother? Very strict, very protective. She was in the Israeli army. She locks the liquor cabinets. So, but that's reinforcement. That's soft reinforcement. Big Bang Theory is the same case. Like these are three top of my head, the shows I've watched myself, and when all of this has unfolded, I can reconnect. Like, oh man, uh, Big Bang Theory में we have a character, dopey character दिखाया हुआ है उसमें. Again, I'm paraphrasing. I don't remember the quotes as is. उसने कोई बात की कि क्या आपने क्या डोनेशन की whatever, and उसका एक डायलॉग है कि आई डोंट नो, मुझे तो सिर्फ यही पता है कि आई डोनेट $1 and a tree grows up in Israel. So because they are connecting back. You can connect it back if you're like really thinking into these things. Uh, a land that had nobody, there was no culture, there were no people, it was a wasteland, and we developed it. Wali cheez jo hai. So all of this, none of this is innocent. So when people representing that industry say, "Ke, it's complicated, we don't have opinions," I'm gonna take it with a pinch of salt, to say the least.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the thing is that you don't really notice these things when you are actually watching them. It's
Yeah,
when certain things happen of like, these events which are with what is happening around the world. So what certain events happen and then, it suddenly clicks कि अच्छा हमने वो चीज़ वहाँ कहीं देखी थी या ये वो and then or
exactly.
if you're watching it again or rewatching it या इस तरह करके but ये इस तरह की subtle जो references होते हैं so these movies and these sitcoms these shows they are full of these subtle references
Yeah.
and I mean like it's amazing how they just incorporate all of these things and these subtle messages and वो फिर आपके दिमाग के अंदर वो आपके mindset के ऊपर और वो
Yeah,
सारा कुछ जो है these are all just affecting you like and you don't even because normal people don't really
realize.
think about these things
Yeah,
yeah they
because
don't
it's
realize and
entertainment
they don't
fun.
think
You're watching it to, de-stress. You're watching it to just, take off steam from your work or whatever. Relaxation के लिए आप देख रहे हो ना, तो एक, but वही
हाँ
इसमें psychology
दिमाग
भी आ
बंद
जाएगी.
होता है it's just passive
Yeah,
entertainment yeah
but if we get on a psychologist on board, I'm pretty sure they will have very interesting things to say about it.
and this is something that is amazing to see it's amazing to witness the way
Yeah,
people are or people in general are questioning the stance of wherever the government stands as far as this conflict or this situation is concerned
yeah.
but
So
yeah
वही
it's
ना,
amazing
वही
amazing too
using वो automatically मुंह से conflict का word निकल जाना, and ये वो, it's basically,
exactly
this has been fed. We have read, and so we, language matters. I think that's where hope comes from. So obviously, when we started out, we said we'll be talking about pop culture, and obviously, it was not possible not to
yeah and
have this
now this was
conversation.
actually yeah
We couldn't just like the times we live in, we couldn't just open a new thing and just open up and everything is hunky dory, because it's not. We
And
are
of course,
with
and this is going to come again and again, this topic, of course, because
yes,
this is
until
actually.
until and unless
Hmm.
this gets sorted in a permanent way, I don't think we should stop talking about it, because this is not like a one-off thing. Even in our future episodes as well, we will be, because again, it's not, we are no experts. Like, again, I can only share what I read, what I'm learning, and now we have also realizing people are sharing resources. We are seeing the stories from the Palestinian people. So it's a learning process, and it's not if we can do it. And I make a joke, as like we saying Gen Z के बारे में हम लोग बहुत कुछ बोलते हैं, as like Gen Z की तो मतलब if you have even worked with them, you can crack jokes about them, but they have really come through. And for me, one of the biggest hope is, after, like, I never had TikTok. Like, I was like, as a millennial, I was watching TikTok content on Instagram like it was supposed to, as my generation was supposed to. But I have downloaded TikTok and I'm seeing their content and I'm amazed. वो जो एक marketing में, because as a comms and marketing professional, हम digital media की जब बात करते हैं ना, तो we used to start with the fact, there's like, आपको YouTube पे मिल जाएगी, there's like platforms की एक presentation है which says that people have an attention span of 12 seconds, which is 12 seconds or 9 seconds, which is around about less than that of a goldfish. So when we are talking about digital content development, we're saying they grab their attention initially when you're gone, because that's the only seconds that a person is gonna see and say, "Acha," if they're interested, they're gonna click it. Otherwise, they're not. But the Gen Z has come through the way they have dig deep. They are reading stuff. They are going back and digging out the Purani, ki what the history was, what's the context, what's been happening, what were the laws. It's amazing, and matlab,
It's
that is
amazing.
where I
बहुत impressive.
the
हाँ. आई एम रियली इम्प्रेस्ड. आई मीन जेन जी का जो इस वक्त चल रहा है ना, आई मीन जितना भी हम कह, आई थिंक वही वाली बात है कि जेन जी हैज रियली, they have their priorities straight. I think they know what they
yeah,
want and
yeah,
they're going for it.
yeah,
They are actually,
yeah.
I'm very impressed.
For those who are interested in movies, Netflix pay, there has been a good collection of films. Farha is like top of my head. I even reviewed it for you. That's a good film. I think that was hauled as one of I think one of the first films which has openly talked about the first Nakba, how it happened, uski depiction hai. And there are a couple of other short films as well, which are very very powerful. So would recommend everybody to just pick in their Netflix algorithm and just find these films.
I have been reading this one book for our book club. Basically,
Yeah.
this is The Earth
Oh,
Transformed by Peter
I, I,
Frankopan.
I have my copy here as well. I need to start this. I actually
Maybe you
got
should
this.
start reading this with us. Acha,
Done, done, done.
oh,
I
you
will.
got
I
this
will.
as a gift?
Yes.
Please do. I have started reading the book and it's amazing the way he has just explained everything so intricately in this book. I mean, of course, this is, by the way, this is my first book of Peter Frankopan. I've not read him before, but I've heard
Same,
so much
same.
about his. So, yeah, I mean, I am reading this one and the other book that I was reading. It is, acha, this is The Dark Side of Journalism. The Dark Side. This is actually one of the more serious.
Timely, timely
Yeah, The
read.
Dark Side of Journalism, the culture and political economy of global media in Pakistan and Afghanistan. This is by Sayyid Irfan Ashraf.
I'll
This
borrow
is,
this from you
I
when you're
started,
done.
yeah, yeah, please do. I've just started reading this and I'll be able to tell you more about this once we, you know, come back
Yeah, so
for our
I
next
think
episode.
I will actually start reading this. I got this gift as a gift last year, end of last year, and I've been looking. I saw this. I think on Twitter, a couple of people were really really talking about it. Uh, Somebody I think got some journalist. I don't remember the name again. I'm really bad with names, so I think next time I'm gonna make sure I have like proper notes.
Next time
Um,
we're going to be amazing. I mean, very well prepared.
we're gonna try. We're gonna really, really try.
We're going to
So,
try. This is going to be
so
a fun podcast.
inshallah, inshallah. Somebody, so some journalist got a like an advance copy, and that I think that person had read the author a lot, so he was raving about it, and I just searched it, or I looked up, and it's like really interesting. So I was waiting कि Pakistan में कब available, and the minute it came on Liberty, before I could, get it, this a really good friend of mine, they were like, surprised me with it as a gift. So I'm going to start reading it. I have been reading Sally Rooney, like kind of back to back.
Oh,
I started with The Normal People, end of last year, and then I am these days doing the second book, Conversations Wali Jo Hai.
I'd have to read that book.
I'm a couple
I
of
actually
pages
have
in.
to read more fiction now. I've not been reading
Actually,
fiction at all,
yeah, yeah.
and it's
I
just
made
sad. Um,
I am somebody who has always been a little more inclined towards non-fiction. I've always read fiction, but मेरा usually a percentage of non-fiction ज़्यादा होती है. But since the past couple of years, given all the things that have been happening in my life, I've like taken on fiction more, and I've felt it relaxes me a lot. Anytime I'm like really really stressed out, like in a you know when life is happening, so this is a good
when
a
life is
good
happening.
way to distract myself. um so
And you
Wolf
know what
Hall
they say,
series,
basically, you should. Hmm.
what do you say?
Yani, I was just saying, you should start the day with nonfiction and you should end it with fiction
With
because it
fiction,
relaxes you. And basically,
that
fiction, I think, is very important for you as a writer as well. I think it's very
yeah,
important. If you are going to write, I think reading fiction is going to help you more than reading the nonfiction.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
uh
I should
so so spe-
incorporate more.
incorporate it more. So speaking of reading more during stressful times, so end of last year was a little bit difficult with my father going through some medical complications. So I ended up reading Wolf Hall series, all the three books. I had like
Oh,
I had the first two books I think since 2017 or 18, but they were there on the to be read wali list for a very long time, and then I was like, okay, good time. So we will dig into
you
that as
had the
well.
physical books? Yeah.
I first two books, yes. Third one, I did on my Kindle. So I was like, because a physical copy is like I think 800 words or 800 pages or something. So it's like a huge book to carry around, and
See,
I yeah.
exactly.
So I was in a situation where I was like spending a lot of time going back and forth from hospital. So I was like, I did ebook on that front. Uh, a latest book, like my first book of January 2024 that I've finished is Migrations by Charlotte McConaughey. I don't know. I don't think I'm
Acha,
pronouncing
okay.
this right.
Got it. Yeah.
Um, this is my first book by her. It's a beautiful book. I have an e version of it. It's basically is a combination of somebody's personal struggles and um, about the impact of climate change. It's mapped into a time when we have almost lost all of the species, and it basically maps out the journey of this woman, following a bunch of birds, and it's very well written. This was recommended in one of a class I took on, writing about climate change, and वहाँ पे किसी ने recommend की थी. So it's a really really good read. And speaking of climate change and a little bit of connecting to what we were talking about earlier, I don't know if you have seen or read that Guardian has done a story about how the current conflict, again, apologies for using that term, how the current genocide is impacting the climate change. It's basically, if I'm quoting this correctly, जो वहाँ पे वेपन्स यूज हो रहे हैं, जो बोmbardment हो रही है, जो डिस्ट्रक्शन हो रही है, it has I think a couple of I think all countries combined who are already on the top tier of being most impacted, उनकी emissions for the whole year combined उतनी नहीं है जितनी in these 90 some days में already emit हो गई. So if
Wow.
anybody is thinking, oh, why should we care? Because we don't live in that region, we are away from it. Yeah, well, climate change is going to kill all of us. So
Our region is already the worst, one of the
yeah,
worst impacted regions.
yes,
Climate
and
change के लिए तो वैसे भी.
we will see that climate change is not doesn't respect borders. It's gonna have an impact all
It's
across. आप
going to have
smog
an
का
impact.
देखिए.
It's already impacting us. Like हमारे 10 साल कम हो रहा है हमारी उसके अंदर से because we're living here in this
Yeah,
region. And
and
and the world that we're leaving for our children, like
every
it's
region.
horrible.
We when I was working for this non-profit who specialized in environmental causes and wildlife, uh, we used to like talk about we our messaging was mostly around think about your future children, think about your future generations. And then at one point later, at the I think closer to my time there, we were like, why future generations? I think a lot of people don't really
Think about
wouldn't
us.
even care. But given that we are what we are witnessing, let's just talk about how it's going to impact us. Future generations के
It's
साथ तो जो
impacting
होगा
us, exactly.
yeah,
It's
आपका
like
हेल्थ
हमारी
केयर इज
जिंदगी के 10 साल कम हो रहे हैं. Like I'm really sad about this fact. Already हमारी जिंदगी कम है. कितनी रह गई है? अब तो कुछ भी नहीं रही है.
exactly. So
So we should
um,
definitely record more of these
we should.
podcasts because
Exactly. It's all connected. Mm, it's interesting. It's sad, but again, to end on a hopeful note, people who are speaking up, people who have been protesting, people who have been trying to, get this done through the legal and the political process.
more
They
power
are
to
where the
them.
hope.
Yeah,
More power to them. That's where we drive our
more
hope.
power to them.
Uh, and again, वही वाली बात है. It's been pretty disorienting. To say talk about, oh, let's talk, मतलब this will happen, ये बहुत great चीज हो जाएगी ये वो. But I think let's take it a day at a time, and hopefully in the long run we get to see the positive change that everybody is really working towards. So I think that's about it for this episode. I'm pretty sure this was all over the place, and hopefully when it comes out, it will make some sense.
And we're going to be having guests on the podcast too soon, hopefully.
Yes, definitely, definitely.
Going forward, of
Yeah.
course.
So I'm gonna,
And for the
of
next
course.
podcast,
So
we'll mainly be discussing Fatma Bhutto's book, right? I mean, like we have to.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That and because the book that you showed,
So if anybody wants to
uh,
read the book before we, uh,
yeah, and
so they
they can
can
share
if they want
their
to.
thoughts in the comments. And I'll try and catch up on the book that you are reading and see how much I can cover by the time we get
ठीक
back.
है, definitely,
And
and we can
obviously, I've been,
discuss that book.
yes, definitely. And maybe we can, next time, we can pick a theme of just talk about our all time favorite books or something like that. So
Yeah.
until then, see you.
Until
And
then,
thank you everyone for
see
tuning
you
in.
and exactly have fun, everyone.